Welcome to Coffee with Vic. I'm your host, Vic Vogel. Um, you need to get your coffee. Take a couple of minutes here, and what we're going to do is talk a little bit about why you need to look deeper into your candidates. And I'm going to kind of show you what I did. That kind of informs me a lot about my candidates, and I'm not going to talk about every candidate or anything like that. That's all personal to everybody, and unless the Russians happen to get into it. But anyway, that's a different story. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the importance of thinking through your candidates. When you're selecting them, the kind of criteria that you want to look for, the things that are important for people to understand about candidates. Um, I think we want to go more than just party. Uh, I know there's this temptation in our divided society now. I got to really support Republicans, or, something different will happen that I don't like, or I'm a Democrat and I don't like them and I'm going to vote them all out because I don't like Trump. You need to get kind of past all of that rhetoric that happens to be playing out on the media so much. And this is very, very important choices for you. These are choices that are going to affect the rest of your life. For example, the fact that people voted for Donald Trump, and we have the potential of two Supreme Court justices that can swing how they will interpret the law over the next 30 or 40 years. Okay, that's the important in a vote. The other one is so many elections throughout history, presidential, congressional, things about issues that affect you have been won by one or lost by one vote. One vote. Okay. So we see how important that really is. So it's important for you to vote. That's one thing. Now, the other thing happens to be, what do you want to look for in a candidate? If you can get past this party issue and think about what's really important about someone serving that we elect and put in Congress, you got to keep in mind this is like hiring it. Yeah, this is like you owning your own company and hiring somebody in there to run it with you or run it for you or to manage it or to lead it for that matter. So don't take this lightly. Think about this from that standpoint. Would I put this person in place if if I were looking at their background? What have they done in their life? What have they been known for in their life? What are the issues relative to background? Criminal, financial, all kinds of issues associated with background you want to look at. You want to look at that in relation to their legal liability to you, uh, their potential character and moral aspects. Do they fit what you're really looking for? So when you think about this, if you, for example, are a Christian, you're looking for people who don't commit adultery. You're looking for people who reinforce God's plan. If you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian, you're looking for different characteristics. But many of them are the same things: moral, ethical, characteristics that you can trust this person to do what they say they're going to do and honor what they say they're going to honor. They're not going to get in there and try and turn it around differently than what you thought about. I think this is, you know, leadership. How do they lead? Do they lead from a power base? Are they narcissistic or authoritarian and controlling? Are they collegial, cooperative, involving, two-way communication, those kinds of things? You want to look at that. You can see that in candidates. And you want to look at their character in terms of their morality. Have they been arrested? Are they being charged currently? How many? Is their background littered with all kinds of different kinds of issues that people consider not good character? Things like that are things that you want to consider about your leader. Then there is the issue of competence, and trust. Are these people the kind of people who are competent and compassionate, and do they what they say? Does it actually seem to play out in what they do? Now, the only way you know that in a candidate is to try to get a handle on if they want to do something about education. How are they going to do that? And then, for example, if they want to reduce the cost of college education, that's a statement they make. Now, the congruency issue is how they're going to do that. Does that match up? Does that make sense? For example, let me give you one that President Trump offered up that should be bothering a lot of people. I am going to build a wall all across the southern border, and Mexico is going to pay for it. Now, that's not the kind of candidate I think is probably congruent consistently for this particular issue. For sure, it just never has happened, and it's probably not going to happen. And something different than what I thought you said, I heard you say happen, is going to happen. That's incongruency. That means the people are not congruent. They're not lined up with what they say versus what they do. So you're looking for that in people. The other thing you're looking for is consistency. Have these people been this way and promoting this kind of process most of the time? Or did they swing from one side to the other, depending on the whim of whatever they think will get a vote? So, just remember also that when you elect somebody into Congress, yes, he's representing what your little constituency wants. But if you took all the districts in the United States and every Congress, House of Representative, and every senator simply promoted or tried to put through what that small group of people wants in the vast amount of the United States, there would be chaos in Congress. So you're electing somebody on larger principles than building roads in Brighton, Michigan. Okay. That needs to be done, and that's an issue. But, they are going to be voting on things that expand beyond their constituency. And you want to know that those things that they represent are the kinds of things you think you want America to be, not just what you want Brighton to be or Livingston County to be or Michigan to be. You want them to be involved and engaged and committed to things that you know are the right things for America that will benefit Michigan, Livingston, and Brighton. Okay. So those are things that you need to be considered about. Now, let me kind of just share my screen here with you a second. First thing I wondered was, because I'm new to Michigan, was goodness gracious, where am I? Let me move this down a little bit here. Well, where is, what district am I in? And by the way, I used to live in Wixom, Michigan, right here. Let me just see if I can pull up some tools here. Let's see, live option sharing. Used to be I could find some tools. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about it. You can kind of see this from my cursor here. I used to live in Wixom for almost 2 years when I first moved up here. And it's about 23 miles from Brighton. But you can see I moved from this district into this district. So you want to make sure if you've done any moving within short ranges of your community or even longer ranges, that you find the right district. So I know I live in Brighton. I know that's in District 8. So what's my next move? My next move is, who in the heck are my representatives and my senator that represent me, that I'm concerned about? Those things that we just talked about earlier. So we want to kind of take a look at perhaps, let's see if I can pull this up here. There we go. So here are the voting districts. So I know I'm in District 8 now. So I need to go on down here to, well, I can go up here to District 8. And now for the district, for the House of Representatives, these would be races statewide or district wide. So we could do district wide, and then I can look at senators or U.S. representatives. I'm sure you have one of these on your state areas too. Maybe it's different, looks a little different. It's there. So these are all the people who are running for the House. There's a couple of Republicans, a Libertarian, and what I need to know is I have those criteria that I've written down about everybody that I'm looking at, and I want to go in and kind of look at what these people say they are representing in terms of issues and see if I can dig a little out about them. So let me pick one here. Let's take Chris. Now I can't get to Chris here. So what I can do is I can go in here and search for him using his name on the website, and his actual website pops up. And this becomes very useful because you can donate to him if you like, but this talks about, some of the things. He's got some issues, a specific issue on gun rights, the importance of unions. You can tell he's a more progressive person from this. So you get various kinds of things that he's interested in. And you can come up and look at his history. You can look about him as a person. You can visit his Facebook. You can contact him. So there's a lot you can find out about this person. This person, he happens to be a doctorate. I think he taught at Michigan State. Who he's endorsed by, 30-minute detailed interview here. Anyway, yeah, Michigan State University professor, tells a lot about him, what his background is, what he's worked on, and those kinds of things. So you want to find this out about every one of the candidates. And some of these you can eliminate fairly quickly, like Penciler. Let's see if I go back here. Well, some of these candidates I eliminate fairly quickly because they don't align with the kind of values and purposes I want our government to represent for its people. When you get down then between these candidates, there's some of these that have a lot more competency, more expertise. They've laid out how they're going to do something better than the other. All of those things began to narrow down who I want to vote for from that standpoint. So these are the things that you want to consider. There's a way to find them. All you have to do is really get online on your favorite search engine. I happen to do Google, but you can use any other search engine and do the same kind of thing. And you can begin to take those criteria. But the first thing is, write down those criteria we talked about: the ability, a trustworthy person, their character, their competency, what they've done in the past. Have they been consistent throughout their life? Do they have good character? Do they have experience in handling governmental areas? That's one of the issues. We kept thinking, well, a businessman can run a government. We're finding that's not the case at all. So be clear about this. Whoever you put into the presidency or any positions are not going to change the Constitution. And the Constitution provides for 3 separate, balanced, and equal powers. And an executive in a business environment does not have those kinds of barriers when they run the company. They make the decision. They may have a board to account to, but they end up making the decisions and they tell people to go down what to do. The president can't do that. He has to convince Congress. He has to abide by the judicial rulings. So that is something that's very important that I think we're seeing as frustrating for the current president. And you know that's something he thought he could change because he had not taken the time to really understand the government that well and how it operates, or that he could just go in and change it at a whim. You can't. You can't do it under the Constitution. You'd have to have a. Now you might try to put in new amendments to change how the government operates, but then you're talking about getting all the states involved in voting on it, and that is an extremely difficult process. So these are things you want to consider. You want to consider your candidate, who they are, what they're about, not just, are they Republican or Democrat, but what are they looking for? I don't know anyone, Republican or Democrat, unless they're stinking rich, aren't concerned with how much it costs to send their kids to college. If I had the ability to have my children go to school for a lot less money, and they could go for free, and maybe they'd have to do some community service or something, however that worked, or serve in that state for a year or two as a teacher or some sort of program. However that works, and you could do that for free. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would that be a problem to anybody, Republican, Democrat, or Libertarian? I can't think of anybody who wouldn't want to save that money and provide that opportunity for the kids. But how you get that is the solution, and that's why you got to dig deeper into your candidate. You can't just go in there and tax people another 25% to pay for everybody's college education. That's probably not going to fly in the United States. Although it is working in a lot of other countries. The same is true about healthcare and things like that. So those are things you need to be looking at. Yeah, take some time to dig out and find out if your candidates are telling you how they're going to get some done. You're not seeing how. I'm kind of questioning whether I want to put somebody in that hasn't thought through enough how they're going to get something done and simply jumps on the bandwagon and says, I'm going to provide everybody free college education to get a vote. Well, as much as I really want that, and if you're not kind of explaining how you're going to get that done, I'm probably not going to vote for you just because you say that. So those are things we need to consider when we elect our officials. I hope this has been a little helpful to you. I'm going to, here's a poll. I'll throw this up if there's somebody on there. Do you plan on voting? And you can check yes or no. So I'm going to launch this poll. And I'm going to do it for about 30 seconds. So if anybody's watching, you can sign on real quick and take this poll. I might leave it up a minute, but just to keep you focused on the idea that that voting is extremely, extremely important. I think this last year and a half has probably proven the importance of doing that, taking it seriously. Okay, I don't see anybody on the air, so we're going to end this poll, and you can see what the percentage was here. Nobody voted, so it's 0-0. Well, it's kind of a nice thing you can do here on Zoom. By the way, I use Zoom, and the link to Zoom will be down in my description if you choose to hop on. And I also use Zoom Webinar, which is allows me to actually broadcast on Facebook. I didn't do that this time because I usually reserve that for my webinars and my instructional pieces as opposed to general meetings. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope your day goes well. You go get some more coffee and enjoy the coffee. And make sure to stay tuned and jump on to my YouTube channel, which will be in the description. Um, and follow the Coffee with Vix. I also have a leadership. We're going to be doing some great things on leadership in the very near future. We got hopefully a program coming up on AI, artificial intelligence, and will that change the whole look of leadership? And we're going to also talk, I'm going to do a whole segment, probably a separate playlist, and we'll go deeply into virtual leadership, what it takes to be a virtual leader. Uh, and that in itself is an interesting dynamic because it is different than what a lot of people have grown up with. So it is set for the millennial world, no question about it. But there are some things you need to know and understand about virtual leadership that can uh, make it very beneficial for you, or it can make it very devastating for you. So have some coffee. I'll see you the next time we're up. Until then, you have a good day and go vote.